Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I woke up this morning to my surprise to this announcement, and it just proves where there is a will, there is a way. Right, so pre-launch adjustments coming to Battlegrounds. So first I'm going to read the post, and then I'm going to comment on it and the entire situation in general. So first of all, hey Summoners, since our announcement on Friday, we have received a lot of feedback on the rewards / event structure of the Battlegrounds. We want to thank you all for sharing your thoughts with us. It's given us plenty to think about. We want to let you all know that we have heard you and we are already working on making the changes. We will be making the changes in 2 waves. First, we'll be making some adjustments before Battlegrounds launches on Monday, and then more changes in the near future when we have more time to review and iterate. We don't have any details right now, but we will try to get them to you as soon as we can, though with the limited timeline, it may be tight. Thank you once again for your feedback. So, first things first. This is obviously a good thing. This is a surprisingly good thing because I genuinely did not think anything is going to change or happen before the start of the season. With this announcement, there is a possibility. It's by no means a guarantee. It's not certain what these changes are going to be, but it is a possibility that the season 1 of Battlegrounds will actually be interesting and fun and competitive as it was, as we all hoped it to be. But at the same time, first, without actually seeing those changes, there's no way for us to know whether they will be extensive enough, whether they'll be good enough, whether they'll be, correcting enough of the problems, because there were so many problems that you would really not know where to begin. And this is, again, really big kind of emphasis on kind of stupidity of Kabam, really. Because they announced this on Friday night, leaving absolutely no time before the season starts. They should have announced this a week or 2 ago, so there is plenty of time for feedback and adjustments and calculations, and so everybody in Kabam doesn't have to run around like they have some sort of fire lit up their asses. This is 100% self-inflicted, starting from the system itself. Whoever designed it is just clearly very, 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 very incompetent or very, very greedy and doesn't give a shit about players. And then hopefully people who adjust it actually understand what they're doing. But the problem is, we don't know who's adjusting it, and we don't know how it's getting adjusted. So to put it in like metaphorical terms, imagine that yesterday Kabam put a big steaming pile of turd on your table. And everybody screamed that that's not okay. Now Kabam says that they heard us and they can scoop a part of the turd away, but it doesn't necessarily change the fact that there is still a sizable piece of turd on your desk, and that's nothing to be happy about. The same situation is here. Until we actually see what Kabam does, how those changes are affected, and whether they are still very bad and turdy, or it's actually something valuable and interesting and exciting, we can't necessarily be joyous or celebrate here. Because that often has been Kabam's strategy in past, when they initially release something that gets everybody outraged, and then they pull back a little so the anger subsides. And so the community is like, well, it's better than what was before. Yeah, but just because something is slightly bit better than the absolute worst possible version of something that you have ever seen doesn't mean it's good. And that is exactly what I want to keep people focused on here. And let me make this absolutely clear. I always say I like to give, props to Kabam where the props are due. They did surprise me with such a quick turnaround. I think it is a good thing that there are changes being made, but let's not forget that these changes are being made out of just a horrible screw up Kabam themselves did and inflicted upon them. Just because they make a huge screw up, slightly smaller screw up, does not necessarily mean that they did a good job. If they actually do a good job and adjust these rewards and systems and how the rewards get distributed in a proper way, then yeah, sure, I'll put my thumbs up and I'll say openly that that's a good job, even though I'll still be, befuddled that we had to go through all of this roller coaster of emotions and this drama and everything had to happen. If only there was somebody with some common sense working for Kabam, they could have actually announced this much earlier. They could have designed it better to begin with. If I don't believe there is a single player playing this game who would read that and say it's a good idea or good system. That system was clearly designed by somebody who does not or ever plays this game or doesn't care about the game or just doesn't know anything about the game. So that in itself was self-inflicted. Then the second bit where they announced it on Friday night and, now, deadlines are tight, so, there's only limited amount of changes that we can make. That's on them also. They have been working on Battlegrounds for 8 or 10 months now, or how long. They have been teasing us all of these things before. They announced, much more information into the contest video where they could have released the rewards information at the same time. They announced more information about the Battleground metas, where they could have released rewards information then or at any other given time. They chose to release it last minute, so it is impossible to garner any sympathy from me that they now have a very limited time to work on changes, because that's what they decided. Those are the timelines that they decided to work with, leaving themselves with no room really for error adjustments, feedback, and stuff like that. So that's on them. So I do not feel one bit sorry for anybody working at Kabam right now being, stuck in some sort of meeting on a Saturday and Sunday and adjusting those rewards, because that is exactly what they did to themselves. If they will do a good job, I'm more than happy to acknowledge it. If the reward system that they come up with is much better, I will say so. But if it isn't, then that will just further kind of reinforce the point that you guys fucked this up hard. Now, also the fact that I mentioned changed in 2 waves, and also the fact that they are working with very limited timeline, does largely lead me to believe that whatever they come up with is going to make slightly more sense, but it is still going to involve majority of the problems that it has right now, because they would have to completely restructure the Battlegrounds reward system to make it decent or good. So I'm not overly optimistic with what they're going to come up with. They're probably going to increase amount of points for winning and solo objectives, and then whatever other objectives, they're going to reshuffle some rank rewards, as in add in more rank rewards for actually placing highly or some of the stuff like that. But they're still not going to, I don't see a way how they can quickly address the problem of the Elder's Marks being a must-have requirement to get decent rewards in those solo events. I don't see how they can address many of the other problems with the reward system. Which, hopefully they eventually will, but that will still damage the Season 1, in my opinion. And again, perhaps it's unfair of me to cast these pessimistic predictions, but I do think that Kabam's track record kind of like supports my current motivation. But there is good to this, because, Kabam has listened to content creators, to people giving their feedback. Therefore, I must say huge thank you to the few content creators in CCP that actually covered this in a video. I have to say thank you to all the viewers who went to the forums, left their own thoughts. Thank you to everybody who forwarded Brian Grant's videos about this, who forwarded my video about this, so on and so forth. Because I can make a video highlighting the issues of the game, but that video is completely irrelevant without you guys. If that video gets no views, nobody cares. If that video doesn't get forwarded, nobody cares. If that video isn't being heard and seen by thousands of people, nobody cares that the video exists. And therefore, I think this is one of those situations where community definitely deserves to pat themselves on the back for being loud, being active, even though this, again, information came at like Friday night, and, it's weekends and whatnot. You guys made yourselves be heard by Kabam. So that is the biggest positive I'm going to take away from this entire situation. Everything else about what the changes are going to be, how they're going to look like, when we're going to see them, again, I'm going to reserve my judgment to it when it actually happens. But make no mistake, again, obviously, this is a good thing. Wish this thing never had to exist in the first place. I wish, the actually came up with a reasonable reward structure in the first place. But I guess that's too much to ask. Let me know what you guys think, and again, thank you to every single one of you. So yeah. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about